Good day, everyone. So, today we will be discussing the central bank's control of foreign exchange rates. So, we will be discussing the central bank's role in the administration of exchange control. So, first, let us discuss the impact of exchange rate on the economy. So, class, a country's exchange rate has an impact on the following economic sectors, either directly or indirectly. So, naatay mga different sectors na the international trade, the service sector, the technology transfer, international remittance, and capital inflow. So first, let us discuss the international trade nga aspect. So industry under the international trade can only expand if a country has sufficient na foreign exchange. So when the exchange rate is poor, so ibig sabihin, ang purchasing power of a dollar decreases. So, foreign exchange reserves are rapidly depleting. Dali lang mo gamay. So, as a result, a lack of foreign exchange would make it difficult to import mga essential goods, mga raw materials, and even katong mga machinery. So, there are no surplus goods to export when essential goods are in short nga supply. So this would cause a country's economic growth to slow down. Then pangduha, the service sector. So the exchange rate of a country's currency, it benefits the local economy. So the reason for this is that clients from other countries must pay more for the same service. For example, sa ilahang tourism and even sa banking. Then, pangatlo, the technology transfer. It is a strong currency that gives a country more bargaining power. So, it is also simpler to acquire cutting-edge technology without depleting foreign exchange na mga reserves nato. Then, lastly is the international remittance and capital inflows. So, a strong currency country will not default. So, as a result, dividends and also sa profits will be distributed without difficulty to our investors. So, this would increase capital inflows and as a result, mas mutaas ang ato ang economy locally. Okay. The next is the different ways of expressing exchange rate. So class, we have here the normal and actual rate. So the true speed is determined by the controlling forces. For example, the central bank. So market forces determine the real rate. So the actual rate is centered on the normal rate. Then we also have this spot and forward rate. So the spot rate is the rate at which a buyer immediately receives the cash. While ang sa future rate, it is the price at which a currency will be available in the future pa. Then kaning single and multiple rate. In most cases, each country has only one exchange rate. So, a country's use of multiple exchange rates is really uncommon siya. So, diri na mosulod si conversion rates. So, the conversion rates between the export and also sa import may differ in some cases. Then, pang-apat, the buying and selling rates. So, customers who wants to sell or buy a country's currency will be offered lower and higher rates by forex dealers such as banks and even financial institutions. So, the selling rate is lower than the buying rate. Then, panglima, the favorable and unfavorable rate. So, if we say a favorable rate, it is one that rises in relation to the currency of another country. And then, official and unofficial exchange rates. So, it is the rate of exchange na ginagamit nato in international transactions when conducting an international business at a market-determined rate. So, the unofficial exchange rate is used. And then we also have the fixed and flexible exchange rate. So the currency conversion rate is fixed in this case. So the flexible exchange rate is determined by the market. So how can we determine the exchange rate through the market? So let's answer that question on our next slides. So over the course of time, class, 3 theories were put forth by economists and even mga think tanks nato for the determination of foreign currency exchange rates. So they are first, the mint part theory. So if we say mint theory, this is the foundation which is our standard here, or the currency that we are using is the gold or gold standard. So, its currency will be dominated in gold or even convertible into gold at a predetermined nga rate. So, another advantage of using the gold standard is that the currency will have a constant ratio nga relationship. So, mint per exchange or mint per excellence. So, at the moment, no country adheres to the gold standard. As a result, the mint par theory is no longer valid as of the moment. Then, pangduha, the purchasing power parity theory. According kay Gustav Cassel, this is a Swedish nga economist, it is credited with developing and presenting the theory in 1922. According to this theory, the exchange rate of a currency should equal the quotient of its internal purchasing power. So, if we say when a price will rise, a country's currency loses its value or even its purchasing power, while the theory is applicable siya to all currencies. So, it will ignore external factors such as speculative na mga activity and even capital in and outflows. Then, lastly is the balance of payment theory or demand and supply theory. Simply put, the exchange rate reflects the supply and demand for foreign currency. So, the rate of exchange is a price point of equilibrium between the demand and the supply. So, when the balance of payments is in surplus or umaapaw na siya, class, demand falls and exchange rate falls due to the free flow of foreign exchange. So, a country with a negative balance of payments, on the other hand, will struggle to meet its reserve requirements. So, demand and exchange rates will rise in tandem. So, the theory is thorough, practical, and even realistic. Despite widespread acceptance, there is an assumption about the balance of payments that this kind of theory is a problematic na assumption about sa balance of payments. And then, why exchange rate changes often? So, class, foreign exchange fluctuation is caused siya by many factors. So, first factor na maka-affect sa exchange rate is there would be a change in the demand and supply for foreign exchange. Then, pangduwa, changes in import and export volumes. Pangatlo, changes to the country's monetary policy. Then, pang-apat, capital flows from industry stocks and even sa markets. Then, pang-lima, economic changes, for example, the inflation and deflation. Pang-anim, geopolitical na mga shifts. Then, 7, banking sector changes. And lastly, pang-8 pa ay the changes in average household income that will affect exchange rates indirectly. Pwede sa nato diri ibutang ang mood. Then, pang-sampo, the speculators' actions. And lastly, the huge technological advances that will gradually boost the exchange rate. So, what is the meaning of exchange control? So, class, foreign exchange control is the process by which a government or central bank gina-restrict niya ang foreign exchange transactions. So, foreign exchange controls impose restrictions on market forces, preventing them from operating freely. So, as a result, the exchange rate would differ from that of a free market na scenario. So, currency controls are commonly used by weaker na mga economies. So, it is done in order to promote economic stability para sa ilaha. Only transitional na mga economies lang ang naay permiso to implement foreign exchange controls under the IMF Article 14 for foreign exchange controls that will be used in some form or another by almost all countries to protect the economy from unexpected currency volatility. And then we also have different characteristics of foreign exchange control. So, the following characteristics emerge when a government or central bank controls the flow of foreign exchange. So first, all foreign currency transaction would continue to be centralized. So dapat centralized siya. Then the central bank will continue to have a monopoly on foreign exchange trading. Then pangatlo, it operates as a foreign exchange dealer. So, a central bank license is required. Then, pang-apat, the central bank may prioritize the allocation of foreign exchange for different obligations. Then, pang-lima, the central bank will purchase all international remittances. For example, the exports and repatriations, and exchange them for local na currency. Then, pang-anim, the official exchange rate is set siya and even controlled by the central bank. And lastly, importers must provide the central bank with a lengthy list of documents. So, need for foreign exchange control. The rise and fall of a paper currency is theoretically limitless siya, class. Negative exchange rate movements will cause uncontrollable economic instability. So, increased productivity, it will lower unemployment, higher economic growth, and even cost-cutting incentives are all positive effects of a country's currency or the exchange rate. So, a stronger currency as a result of speculative activity would result in a recession. So, for example, the Swiss franc, this is a prime example of a speculative currency. So, in times of crisis, investors flock to the Switzerland, which serves as a safe haven for their money. As a result, the Swiss franc is frequently overvalued, and the central bank should intervene to avoid a recession. So, a weak currency is bad for the economy actually, class. It will have a negative impact on imports and capital inflows, which are the lifeblood sa toang economy. Nobody will allow their currency to depreciate uncontrollably. With a weak currency, no country has ever recovered sa ilahang utang or even sa recession. So, it is really critical, no, to closely monitor the exchange rate and intervene if necessary in order para ma-maintain nato ang healthy and even growing nga economy. And then we have different strategies that adopted by central banks to control exchange rates. Essentially, all methods of controlling the exchange rate fall into two categories. So they are as follows. First, direct and indirect method. So the direct method of exchange control has a direct impact on the conversion rate, while ang indirect method has an impact on other sectors but ultimately has an impact on the other sectors but impact on the exchange rate. While ang bilateral and multilateral na mga approaches, a country's central bank pursues unilateral policies without consulting with other countries. So, two or more countries use bilateral and multilateral methods para makontrol nila ang ilahang exchange rates. So if we say under sa unilateral methods, we have exchange intervention or pegging, and we also have the foreign currency exchange restrictions. So first, let us discuss the exchange intervention or pegging. So market intervention is limited in this case. So when a country's central bank is concerned about speculators driving the price too high or even too low, it will intervene in the market para ma-stabilize ang exchange rate. And then, when the central bank purchases a currency in order nga makatabang og increase sa ilahang exchange rate, the currency is pegged up. So when the central bank intervenes in the market to lower the exchange rate, the currency is pegged, so the intervention will not result in a permanent shift in the trend. Then panduha, the foreign currency exchange restrictions. The central bank of a country can influence the exchange rate by controlling the demand and even sa supply. Among the most widely used na exchange rate management tools, natay daghan na pwede gamiton as a management tools on the exchange rate. First is the block accounts. Bank accounts of foreigners have been frozen. So, the central bank will even combine all block accounts in a emergency. So, however, class, it will harm the country's image and even have a long-term economic na consequences if we will be blocking the accounts of the or i-froze na to ang ilahang bank account sa mga foreigners. And then panduha, multiple exchange rates. So a central bank controls all foreign currency in the system and sets different rates for importers and also sa mga exporters. So, this is done in order to keep the country's capital outflow under control. So, there will be a price rationing rather than volume rationing that can be interpreted. So, the system here is very complex, which adds to the central bank's problems. Then, pangatlo, rationing of foreign exchange. So, using this method, the central bank determines how much foreign exchange to distribute for each request. So, foreign currency cannot be owned by a person or even sa isa ka corporation. Only the most pressing needs would be taken into the account. And lastly, Exchange Equalization Account or the EEA. So, following the demise of the gold standard, so for example, dito sa United Kingdom, their central bank established the Exchange Equalization Account in 1932 para makatabang sila og control sa mga short-term currency fluctuation. So, the strategy was later adopted by the US para sa ilahang Exchange Stabilization Fund and even adopted by the other European countries such as, for example, sa Switzerland and even sa France. Then we have the bilateral and multilateral methods. So, under the bilateral and multilateral, first we have the payment agreements. So, this will help us avoid delays in international mga transactions. So, this system allows debtor and even creditor na mga countries to agree on a payment schedule. So, the agreement here will have a detail how to manage exchange rate volatility. So, foreign currency is distributed siya and rationed siya under strict na supervision. Then we also have the clearing agreements. So, this exchange rate management strategy necessitates a bilateral agreement between two or more countries. All payment will be made in the currency of the party doing the exporting and also sa pag-import. So, a clearing account at a central bank is used because there is no foreign exchange that will be required. So, exchange rate volatility is reduced with this kind of transaction. During the 1930s class, if you are familiar with the movie of the Great Depression na nahitabo sa Germany and Switzerland, with the Great Depression nga nahitabo sa ilaha, they used this kind of system nga kaning sa clearing agreement. Then we also have the standstill agreements. So as a central bank can use this system to impose a moratorium on the aspect sa short-term debt na conversion. This procedure allows for adequate na repayment time. This relieves downward pressure on the currency. So the system was first implemented dito sa Germany in 1931 after the Great Depression. And then pang-apat, the compensation agreement. So, barter agreements between two countries are used. One is a net exporter while the other is an importer. So, the balance of export and also sa imports will be equal. So, as a result, the exchange rate remains stable. And lastly is the transfer of moratoria. So, all payments to foreign creditors are prohibited, pinagbabawal. So, if foreign exchange reserves increase, creditors should pay the central bank in domestic nga currency. Then, sa indirect method, we have the regulation of bank interest rates. So, raising bank interest rates encourages capital inflows from foreign na investors. As a result, the exchange rate will rise as demand for local currency grows. So, when interest rates are reduced, the opposite occurs. As a result, by adjusting bank interest rates, the central bank has control over the exchange rate. Then, Panduha, international trade regulation. So when the trade balance is unfavorable siya, a government can impose import restrictions or mga tough clauses that could change the policy, the quota system, and even makadungag og mga tariffs. At the same time, exports are being promoted. So, in this case, magkaroon og mga international business exhibitions, mga subsidies. So, this will eventually discourage imports while increasing the exports. So, without a doubt, the net increase in reserves will support the currency. And lastly is the gold import policy. With the exception of a few African countries, almost tanan na countries import gold. So, gold imports may be restricted by increasing import duties. So, this strategy is frequently employed by India, which imports approximately 700 tons of gold each year. So, less imports imply greater foreign exchange reserves and a more favorable na exchange rate. Then we also have the advantages of foreign exchange control. So this will be our second to the last discussion for this day. So if we have advantage, we also have disadvantage. So that will be our last topic. So advantage of foreign exchange control. First, it helps to keep exchange rates stable. Second, helps resolve an unfavorable payment balance. Third, keeps gold and foreign currency reserves. Pang-apat, capital flight continues. And lastly, na advantage ani is it will contribute to our economic growth and even sa stability sa tuang country. Then the disadvantage of foreign exchange control. First, indirectly increases administrative corruption. So, magiging siya no, root cause nga nung magkaroon ng corruption sa isa ka bansa. Second, managing the economy requires a large number of competent na mga officials. Pangatlo, misunderstandings with major economics power. And lastly, pang-apat pa pala, big corporate commitments are discouraged. Panglima, fundamental discrepancy is created. And lastly, global trade volume kay mo decline. So class, to summarize our discussion for today, exchange control policies do have a double advantage. It is possible that temporary exchange control measure will be required. Pero class, it will be hasty and stringent decisions that can permanently harm a country's economy. So, in that sense, countries that have liberalized their exchange controls have avoided financial difficulties while experiencing remarkable nga economic growth. After all, it is human nature to resist any kind of restrictions, including aning exchange control. So, that is all our discussion for today's topic no, sa atoang week 8. So, if you have questions, clarifications, and concerns, you may ask. Thank you for listening to our discussion and God bless everyone.